As a team of highly trained and extremely professional game reviewers, we'd like to think that we are completely and utterly immune to hype in all its myriad forms. But after seeing that trailer, we have to admit that we were more than a little bit excited by Dead Island. Alright, we were positively fizzing with anticipation. So when the chance came to go hands-on with the game, we leapt on it like a zombie on a platter of grey matter. And here are our first impressions.
It's the Lord's will that you be here. Agreed?
Our short 1-hour vacation to Dead Island starts with a difficult choice. Which one of 4 characters do we want to play as? There's Zion, the sharp weapon expert, Sam B, who's good with blunt objects, Perna, who's a crack shot with firearms, and Logan, the throwing expert. Sorry Logan, you're out. Each character represents a different skill tree, and we've been promised unique progression. But seeing as we were starting from scratch in our short playthrough, we didn't get to see the characters truly come into their own. Instead, we got to spend an hour bludgeoning, cudgeling, and pummeling the undead from a first-person perspective with any objects we could lay our hands on. There's a basic set of fighting moves on offer, with kicks to knock zombies back and the ability to throw weapons, adding a bit of technique to the madness. But more often than not, combat descends into a bout of flailing until everything falls down, and more importantly, stays down.
Yes!
So far, so left for dead, but it's the mission structure where Dead Island goes off on a tangent. As you wander around the destroyed tropical paradise, you'll come across pockets of survivors hiding out from the encroaching zombie horde. More often than not, these folks will need you to help them fetch something, rescue somebody, and generally risk your own life for some experience points, and if you're lucky, a new weapon. This gameplay style feels like a mix of Far Cry and Fallout, with you gathering up quests and tackling them in any order you want. You'll mainly have free reign of the island, and you can pick your own path or even drive towards your objective. But when it comes to tackling the problem, meeting zombies head-on seems to be the only way forward.
Step up, Logan.
Things start out tense with your character waking up after a heavy night in the now overrun hotel. And as you pick your way through overturned and abandoned rooms, the brooding atmosphere builds and is eventually broken with a harrowing chase through the corridors. From there, it's out into the sunlight to meet up with tattoo-faced lifeguard Sinamoi, who is trying to make contact with rescue efforts off-island and acts as your main mission provider early on. The outdoors locales are certainly picturesque, but the plentiful lighting and wide-open spaces lack any true tension, and this lack of suspense is thrown into sharper focus when compared to the powered-down chalets and facilities you explore, where the bare beam of your torch is the only light source and zombies tend to jump out from corners. Despite the undead's tendency to sneak up on you, their general shambling gait means that sprinting away is always a viable option. This, coupled with the multitude of discarded energy drinks scattered around the island, means that even if you get into trouble, refilling your health bar takes little more than a quiet moment and a quick rummage around. However, the odd curveball is thrown into the mix, like the inclusion of fast runners who attack in packs, and with such ferocity that most encounters end up with you dead. There are also larger zombies who really soak up the damage and require more powerful weaponry to take down. Luckily, Dead Island's weapons can be modified and upgraded at workbenches as long as you have the right items and mods. Things may never reach the farcical heights of Dead Rising's make-and-do approach to zombie slaying, but you can never go wrong with a trusty nail bat. When we weren't creating weapons or making the undead undead, a sizable proportion of our time with the game was spent engaging in that ever-popular zombie apocalypse pastime, looting. Digging around in other people's stuff nets you weapons, items, and money, but when most of it can't be forged into something new without the relevant mod, the constant kleptomania seems a bit redundant. Perhaps this is an element that will come into its own over a longer playtime. Not only that, but we spotted 5 locked-off weapon slots to supplement your first 2, and a leveling system for skill, so it certainly seems that gameplay for each character might diverge quite dramatically as you clock up the hours. From what we've seen of Dead Island in the trailers and what we've played, we've learned 2 things. Firstly, never give a zombie girl a piggyback, and secondly, this first-person open-world game may not be everything you're expecting. It's too early in our playtime to cast judgment, but we're hoping that the RPG elements come into their own as the game goes on, and the diversity in weapons keeps the zombie slaying a constantly engaging challenge. Fingers crossed!